Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your Cheap and Shelf record collector. Hope everybody's doing well today. This is going to be a entry into Steve Carlson's 1,000 subs contest, or drawing as he says. I just want to tell congratulations to Steve on 1,000 subs. It's well deserved. I'm sure he'll have a lot more before you know it. Always a fun channel, always interesting things, and always a fun watch. So congrats again, and it's going to be a short video because Steve asked to choose 5 go-to records. Well, I cheated a little bit because I certainly didn't want to do 100, but I could have done 25 easily. But I decided to do, I ended up having to do 6. 2 blues, 2 jazz, and 2 rock. So here we go. First thing off, an album I've loved since I first heard it, when it first came out. And it's a go-to. It's one of those albums where every single song on both sides are just fantastic, and never grows old, which is The Band, second album by The Band. Features, Across the Great Divide, Rag Mama Rag, The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, Up on Cripple Creek, Jemima Surrender, Jawbone, King Harvest. I mean, there's not a bad song on the album, and it's the kind of album I have listened to many times, and it's a classic. You can't go wrong with it. Everything on it is great. One of my favorite albums of all time. Next album is by a guy we all know, and again, another album. This happens to be a double album, and there's not a bad cut on it. Every single song is better than the next one. I just recently got a new pressing, a mono pressing of it, because I was so sick of trying to find an original. So I finally pulled the trigger and got a new mono pressing, and that's Bob Dylan's Blonde on Blonde. And again, not a bad song on the album. Here we go. Rainy Day Woman, of course, Pledge of My Time. Visions of Johanna, my all-time favorite song by Dylan. I Want You, Memphis Blues Again, Leopard Skin Pillbox Hat. Most Likely You'll Go Your Way, I'll Go Mine, Absolutely Sweet Marie, obviously 5 Believers, Sad Eyed Lady of the Lowlands. I mean, not a bad cut on the album. And there's your cover itself. I had a stereo version for years. It was okay, but scratched a little bit. And like I said, I finally got sick and tired of trying to find a clean original mono. And I said, screw it. So I picked up this one, and it is fantastic, sounds great, and just my go-to album. Then I got to some blues albums. This was a hard decision because I have so many blues albums that I just love. But the first thing that came right to mind without any issue was this great album called Showdown. And this is with Albert Collins, Robert Cray, and Johnny Clyde Copeland. I should have looked up the year it came out. 1985. And if you don't know this, this is one of my all-time favorite blues albums. They do the T-Bone Shuffle, the Lion's Den, which is great. She's Into Something, a Black Cat Bone, Albert's Alley. Just fantastic record. The three of them just get on. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's thought out. It sounds like they're just sitting there and jamming together. It's one of my all-time favorite blues albums. If you don't know it, definitely check this out. Showdown. Johnny Clyde Copeland, Robert Cray, and Albert Collins. Great album. Next blues album I decided to go with was from the master, Muddy Waters. And I have so many Muddy Waters albums. I decided to pick this one, which is Fathers and Sons. This happens to be a French pressing that I picked up actually in a garage here in Maine. Somehow, I don't know how that ended up there, but in great condition. This is a record he put out, I want to say in the late 70s. And it features, besides Muddy Waters, has Otis Spann on piano, Michael Bloomfield, Paul Butterfield, Donald Duck Dunn, Sam Lay, and Buddy Miles. I mean, how can you beat it? One record is a studio album where they do standard Muddy Waters songs, All Aboard, Walking Through the Park, 40 Days, 40 Nights, Stand Around Crying, I'm Ready, 24 Hour Blues, just great. The second album recorded live at the Super Cosmic Joy Scout Jamboree, 1969, recorded in 1969. Fantastic record. I mean, Muddy Waters backed up with a premier band. Michael Bloomfield absolutely shines on this record. Otis Spann, great piano. One of my all-time favorite albums, Fathers and Sons. I love that cover. And then I got two jazz albums. First one is the one I've loved for years, and lucky enough to get a really nice copy of it. Well, not maybe not the original, but certainly an early version. And it's Horace Silver, Song for My Father, on Blue Note. Always got to show the Blue Note label on Blue Note. With Blue Mitchell on trumpet, Junior Cook on sax, Gene Taylor on bass, and Roy Brooks on drums, and Horace Silver playing piano. Tuneful, beautiful, great improvisations going on, but not something that if you're into, like, if free jazz sort of freaks you out, this is much more melodic and tuneful, and just a fantastic album. One of my all-time favorites. Horace Silver, Song for My Father. Beautiful, beautiful album. Definitely highly recommended. Highly recommend this album for anybody. And finally, last but not least, this album is by my all-time favorite jazz musician, and yeah, my absolutely all-time favorite jazz musician. I don't think anyone comes. He's in a world by himself, and that is Thelonious Monk. And this is Thelonious in action at the Five Spot Cafe with Johnny Griffin on sax, Ahmed Abdul Malik on bass, and Roy Haynes on drums. This was recorded, I'm going to say, late 50s. I had this album, original copy, when I was in high school, so that 1966 or 67. It was really one of my first introductions to bop jazz, and that's why I chose this one. I have a lot of Monk albums, but I chose this just because it really speaks to me. It brings me back to the days when I was a kid, and fantastic record. Nobody like Monk. Numero uno. And there you go. Those are my 6 collections. I hope I'm not excluded from the contest by going over by one. Once again, Steve, congratulations. I'm sure you'll be up at 2,000, 2,500 before you know it. Till next time, thanks. Peace.